things were moving along, progressing pretty well for a number of months there, and markets seemed to look the other way when it came to U.S.-China relations. But this week they turned pretty sour, and it even got personal. Both the Treasury Secretary in the U.S. Calling the one of his Chinese counterparts unhinged, and so it's always been a point of tension. The differences between the two, but they're definitely heating up now, and they're a long way from a deal for sure. But as one of you guys mentioned, the first thing they need to do is the leaders need to sit down and kind of get things back on track. Currently, they're kind of gone off the rails, so to speak.
Yeah, name calling is definitely not a positive development if you're looking for some kind of deal to come along. I guess the issue here now is China's latest moves on its rare earth supplies, adding some curbs to those exports. And it sounds like the bottom line is China has something every country needs, which is this supply of rare earths, and it's not afraid to weaponize it in the same way that the U.S. has weaponized its end marketplace.
Yeah, exactly. So the U.S. is arguing that this is going to hurt most major economies, not just the U.S. And China would say, well, you're kind of overinterpreting this. It's not going to be that bad. So there's a real disagreement about the impact that these rare earth restrictions that China announced last week would have. The bottom line, though, is they're still not seeing eye to eye on the impact, and the U.S. is trying to rally other countries together to form a sort of united front and some sort of group response to what China has announced. And China is basically sort of exploiting the fact that the U.S. has gone around the world in the past several months and put tariffs on everybody, and that doesn't really win you friends if what you want is to get a consensus to stand up to China. So it's going to be a real test of the U.S.'s protectionist policy that we're going to see play out. We only have another 3-4 weeks until the ceasefire on higher tariffs between the U.S. and China expires. So they've got a lot of work to do to get things back on track in not a long amount of time to get there.
And Brendan, it seems like just some of the rhetoric from some of the U.S. officials, including President Trump, that looking to line up some support amongst our quote unquote allies. How tough is that going to be after the most recent 9 months where the president's rhetoric was not necessarily supportive of our so-called allies, and tariffs not really supportive of our allies? How tough is that going to be?
Yeah, I mean, it's most of the world didn't retaliate against Trump's tariffs, and so you could say to some extent that was a successful deployment of tariffs from the Trump administration. But there's a lot of bad blood still. These tariffs are hurting European industries, and they're hurting Indian companies, and they're going to leave kind of some economic dislocations in places that are going to hurt these politicians that had to basically swallow these tariffs and not retaliate. So what the U.S. is going to try to do is try to unite the countries that it's pretty much tried to disconnect some of their and protect their own industries. And it's going to be a real test of whether can you have it both ways. Can you punish countries with tariffs and then ask them to be your friend in allying against China? There's a big question about whether that's going to be possible.